Okay, today is Tuesday, April 28th, 2020, and
I'm
I'm
really
with
sorry
I'm with
about
Tanay.
this today.
We forgot.
Yeah, we. You don't need to mention that in the video. We don't need to mention that.
Oh, sorry, you're recording. Okay, sorry.
Because we already, I already text back and forth with your mom. So. Okay, so so the funny thing is this gentleman from Turkey. He wanted me to. He was asking if I'd be interested in uh, in being helping him to develop a Code Ninjas clone in Turkey.
What?
Code Ninjas clone. A copycat. Yeah, right. So he wanted me to do a copycat, but
We
I
didn't
mean,
agree.
but he had a. Do you know what fly by night means?
Fly by night? What does that
You know
mean?
what that means? Well, in the 70s, martial arts were very super popular, right? So there were a lot of unscrupulous, people with no morals and ethics. So they would set up a fake karate or kung fu school, and what do you think they did?
They taught stuff from movies.
Well, not worse than that. They took people's money, right? They sold like 1 year contracts, and then like the next day or the next week, maybe they kept in business for 1 month, and then what do you think happened after 1 month? What do you think happened to the kung fu school or karate school?
They closed. They closed. They closed their thing so that way they would earn more money.
Well, they didn't earn it; they just ran off with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's what, yeah, that was a big problem in the 70s on people with fake, I don't think that's what he was going to do, but I don't think his intention was to, actually teach kids how to cook. He just wanted the money. You know what I'm saying? I want money too, but I don't want to,
Scam people.
I don't want to scam people. Yeah. Okay, so let me share. So I want to show you what I've been working on, and I hope you like it. So already uploaded it. I've already uploaded it to Google Classroom. Oops, what did I do with it? Are you have you played any Yu-Gi-Oh yet, or you don't
No.
you don't do
I
no?
play Pokemon.
Okay, very similar, very not the same but similar.
Yeah.
So I found a Yu-Gi-Oh card maker, and I'm going to and I'm going to be creating well, they're basically
KwizKardz.
yeah, well they're basically flashcards, but it's in the form of a Yu-Gi-Oh style playing card.
Master Han.
Yes.
Um. How how many students do you have that are in grade 3 and live in Canada?
Well, you're the only student I have in Canada.
Oh.
All the other students I have are here in California.
Um. Are any of them in grade 3?
I have yeah, I have a group of 3 boys in one of the academies. I work with 2 academies. You're my student because I'm the one who because I have
I know
direct
what you
contact.
mean.
But the other students, they're my students, but
But
they're not really my students.
they're like school students basically.
Yeah, they belong to the school. And I have no. This is the big difference. I selected you, right? Your
You
mother picked me,
selected
but I
me. I thought
selected
my
you.
mom just asked you.
Well, it was. We did a trial lesson. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when the academies get the students, I can't refuse. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's not fair.
What I mean that's not fair.
What if some of your students are like bullies and or people that don't listen to you
Well, I mean,
they make fun of you.
well, I mean, the important. Well, you see, this is why I give you priority. I give you priority because we had a conversation and we need to be on the same page, right? Because if
Yeah.
I got a sense that you didn't really want to learn, then I don't want to be a teacher. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So my assumption is you do want to learn. Okay. Okay.
Master Han.
Yeah. So do you see this? Do you see this card here?
Yep.
Okay. So so this is not, so I'm gonna review these cards, and then I'm gonna be attacking you with these cards today. Okay. So you have to play close attention. I'm sorry. You had a question?
Yep. Are we gonna be? Am I gonna have to make these? Or...
Well, not right now because I have to make a. You understand what a standard deck is, right?
Yeah, it's like a.
Yeah.
It's
So
a
that's
deck
the
with this, like if you're playing Pokemon, then it's a deck with the
most
your, like,
common.
better
Yeah.
Pokemon.
Very good. Right. So it's the same idea as that. This
Not
deck
like rare mythical Pokemon.
Well, I mean, I don't. I mean, eventually I'll probably have some kind of like, rare or epic or legendary or awesome or some mumbo jumbo like that. But basically, what it is, I'll have a standard deck, and then you need to. I mean, yes, I have to make a standard deck so that you have something to base off of to make. Could you make a Pokemon monster out of nothing?
No.
No, you need to know what the standard Pokemon, the Pokédex, right? You need the Pokédex to look at, oh, maybe I'll take this turtle or Wordle or whatever you call it, Beedrill,
Squirtle.
right? And then you might change it, right? But you need to have something to work off of.
You mean like evolve?
Kind of, yeah. Mutate, evolve, right? So you make it your own. So the idea is that in the beginning, you'll use this standard deck, but eventually you'll want to have your own deck. Because if you keep using the standard deck, then it's not going to be to your benefit because everyone will know the same standard deck. Okay. So I'm going to go review this and now everything that I'm showing you might change because this is a prototype. Okay. So it's basically a flashcard, but in this situation, you wouldn't be showing people the card. You would be, you'd be using it as a flashcard. So for
Would
example,
you be like asking them the question?
yeah, basically. And from your mother's point of view, when she was a professional coder, this is kind of a child's version of what would happen in real life to adults. Because when you go to if you want to get a job as a coder, okay, so they're usually going to have a technical interview. Okay, so they need to make sure that you actually know your stuff. Okay, and this is not a friendly game they're playing with you, right? You know what I'm saying? They're going to ask a lot of technical questions, not these questions because these are really simple. This is for you would ask a child, right? But it's kind of the basic idea. So I'm basing it off of something that happens in real life, okay? But at a level that an 80-year-old can understand. So, for example, I'm showing you the card, but I wouldn't normally show you the card. I'd be just asking you a question. So I would ask you, okay, so you can see the attack and the defend? Okay, so the attack is a 5. So the way you have to think of it is that this is a damage. So what it happens is that if I attack you,
it does 5 damage and
no, not well, it's even worse than that. I'm gonna steal 5 experience points from you.
What?
But if you get the answer, then you will get 5 experience points. Okay.
What about defense? What's that?
Oh, the defense. Okay, very good. So that's defense. So what it is basically it's a hint. So you can defend by asking a hint. But what happens when you ask a hint?
You lose 1 experience point.
Yeah, I take that. Well, it gets taken away from you. Okay. So if you attack, then the person can't. So you're not losing any points yet. But this is just a simulation. Okay. So if I ask you, Tanay, what is a variable? And then what would you say?
A variable is a box with a name that holds a value.
Okay. So now if you didn't, very good. So then I'm not giving you any points right now, but then you would get 5 experience points, right?
Nice.
From the other player. You would get that from the other player. Okay.
And then
you see what I'm saying?
5 and I would get 5.
Yeah, but you see, this is why you would want to eventually create your own quiz cards. Because if you keep asking the same questions that everyone knows, you know, you're not going to win anything. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Now let's say you didn't know, you wanted a hint. So you could ask, so let's do it again. What is a variable? And then you say, I don't know. Can I have a hint?
I don't know. Can I have a hint?
Okay, you lose 1 experience point. I deducted from your balance, right?
Yeah.
So then I would tell you, so the text in the bottom, that's the hint that you would give the other person. You would say, a variable is a blank with a blank that holds a blank. You're not giving them the answer. You're just giving them a hint, right?
What does that thing say? Hint brackets XP.
Yeah, that's the experience. That's what you lose. That
Oh.
gets deducted from the other player.
Ah.
Okay. Now it's at some point there won't be any hints. You'll just be a straight. You don't know the answer, you lose,
You lose 100.
and the attacks will increase. So potentially the attack for level 1 and 2, it might go to 5, 10, 15, 20. So you better, so when you ask the questions, more of your experience points will be on the line. Okay?
Mhm.
Because then you would potentially have more experience points in your on your balance to lose. Okay?
Mhm.
Okay, what is a function?
A function is a block of code that does work.
Whoa, oh, that was wrong.
Mhm.
You want a hint?
It's a no.
You don't want a
But
hint? Okay.
a function is a block of
Your
code
code
that
does, there's 2 words. That
your
does
work.
blank blank.
No, wait,
No.
not your work.
You need to rewatch the videos.
A function is a block of code that does. A function is a block of code that.
You need to memorize, Tanay, you need to memorize these things. It's not that hard. It's a block of code that does one job. One job.
One job.
One job. Okay. And how many points would you have lost?
5.
5. Okay.
Wait, do I actually use them?
Not yet, but we're going to
Oh,
do a
this one's
session.
easy.
Okay.
A value.
What is a value?
A value can be.
No, that's not the answer I want.
A value is something in store. It's basically
Not
like
something. No, something is not acceptable answer.
a value is an integer stored inside a box.
Not exactly.
It
It
could be
is.
an integer, string, or boolean.
Nope. Data. A value is data or information stored inside a what?
Code.
Nope.
Computer.
Nope. Starts with a V.
Variable.
Variable. Okay. So you lost. How many points did you lose there?
5.
I would say 7. I gave you like 2 hints. Okay. Okay. What is a value again?
A value is data stored inside a variable.
Okay. What is an, oops, we skipped one. What is an algorithm? Do you remember what an algorithm is? I'm pretty sure we covered this.
No, we didn't. We didn't cover algorithm.
Okay.
We
I'll give you,
covered
I thought I did.
abstraction, not
I thought I did.
algorithm.
I thought I did. Okay. An algorithm is like a, what is an algorithm like? An algorithm is like a,
Code.
you find them in kitchens. They're in books and kitchens. What do you find in kitchens that's in books?
Ingredients.
Close. It wouldn't be in the book. What would be in the book? What's in a cookbook?
Instructions. Oh,
But we don't call,
algorithm is like instructions.
well, we don't call them instructions. What do we call them? Cookbooks have what?
Cookbooks have instructions.
Right, but we don't call them instructions. What do we call them?
Steps.
Recipes. We call them recipes.
Recipes.
Okay.
An algorithm
So
is like a recipe.
an algorithm is like a recipe. It isn't. It is not a recipe, but it is like a recipe. Okay, it's like a recipe. Okay.
A recipe for what?
Well, to solve a problem, you know, to solve a problem. If you play a video game, you know, there would be many algorithms in. Okay, there would be definitely an algorithm in the
A
game.
float is a decimal integer. For
Not a decimal integer.
example,
We don't call it decimal integer. We call it decimal number.
decimal number. I was
Decimal
close,
number.
right?
Well,
I
that's
was close.
close, yeah. But so in a video game, they definitely have algorithms, and they're
Mhm.
called pathfinding algorithms. So when you have,
Pathfinding?
yeah, when you have
Yeah,
enemy when you have
you have to
enemy
find the path.
players, when you have enemy players in the game,
Mhm.
the computer has to know how the enemy players need to know how to pathfind, how to go from one place to another.
Yeah,
In
but what if your video game doesn't involve enemy players? It just involves building stuff, like in Super Mario
Right. I
Maker.
mean, yeah, but even, but a lot of games will have objects that will move from one place to another.
Well, obviously.
Okay. Because
But
otherwise then the game would be very
Mario.
staticky. It wouldn't, you wouldn't want to play a game where nothing really moves around. Everything stays in the same place. That's kind of boring. So a pathfinding algorithm is basically like like if you're at school, right? So how
Mhm.
do you get from one classroom to another? So what you're doing in real life is you're pathfinding, You're trying to
Right. So we're
you're trying to
doing
figure out one.
we're following our brain's algorithm.
Well, yeah, your brain has an algorithm, obviously to, cross the street, to get home. So
We read a book, maybe.
maybe. Okay. What is a float? Tanay, let's focus.
A
Let's not
float
play with
is
the game.
a float is a decimal number.
Okay, very good. Decimal number.
Yeah, I got
So
5 points.
well, no,
Integer?
you didn't get anything yet. I'm just reviewing them with you.
I know.
What is an integer?
An integer is a number.
It's 2 words, blank, blank. An integer is a blank, blank.
An integer is a number value.
Nope. It is a number. What kind of number is it?
Int.
What kind of number is? I already gave you the hint. An
A whole
integer is a
number.
whole number, right? An integer is a whole number. Okay. Okay, let's try again. Okay. Today I upload these cards to Google Classroom, so you have a copy of them. Okay.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
So my mom can just ask me these questions, and I'll be on the
Well,
other side.
I honestly, I would like you need to be able to do it yourself tonight. Okay. Your mother can help
Yeah,
you, but you need
but
to.
then I would just look at the hint.
Well, you can look at the hint. The hint won't have the complete answer. It's okay to look at the hints. Okay. Okay. What is a variable?
A variable is the box with a name that holds a value.
Okay. Now, of course, memorizing things. I know you can memorize things, but of course, you do need to be able to remember things. If you can't remember anything and I have to keep repeating things to you over and over, then it's really hard for me to teach.
Do the same class all day, every day.
Right, Tanay. So I'm not going anywhere. Okay. Tanay, let's not do that, please. Okay. Let's focus. Okay. What is a function?
A function is a block of code that does. Oh my god. A function is a block of code that does. Not work.
It's not work. How many jobs does a block of code do?
Oh, a function is a block of code that does one job.
One job, okay? Does one job, okay? So when you think of functions, think of a rich person's house with a cook and a driver, okay? You don't ask the cook to drive and you don't ask the driver to cook, right?
Unless they can do both.
Well, then you would have to pay them more, right?
True.
Okay.
You don't want that.
And normally you wouldn't have a cook and a driver. You wouldn't have someone cooking and driving at the same time. Okay.
True.
They would be
so
two
true.
separate people. You know, you're rich. So I'm not saying you're rich, but if you're rich, you'd have two people doing two separate jobs. You'd have one person to be the cook, okay, and then one person to drive you. You wouldn't have the same person doing both things, okay?
Mhm.
Okay. What is a value?
A value is a value is code.
Not code,
Not code. A value is data
data.
stored inside a thing. It's not hard drive. It's not hard drive.
No, it's not hard drive.
A value is data stored inside a, well, no, I forget.
Variable.
Variable, right.
Okay. Variable. Okay. What is an algorithm?
An algorithm is like a recipe.
Okay. What is a float?
A float is a decimal number.
Okay. What is an integer?
An integer is a whole number.
Whole number. Okay. 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 Can you see this code here?
Constants, wrong answer. Code.
Okay. So what happens when you give me a wrong answer?
I lose 5 points.
Okay. So your current experience points is from last week was 103, okay?
Nice.
103, right? Okay. So in line 10, what did I do?
Line 10. You put my name dash experience point plus equals 50.
So what does that mean? What happened?
If I get a correct one, I get 50 points.
No, I already gave you 50 points. But what happens at line 12? Tell me in English, what happens in line 12?
My name dash XP.
No. Tell me in English. What does that mean? What's going to happen when you answer?
If I get a wrong answer, I lose 50 points.
No, you lose 5 points.
It doesn't say 5 points.
Whoa. What is wrong answer? What is wrong answer equal to?
5 points. Law.
Negative 5 points.
5 points from me.
Negative 5 points. And what am I multiplying that by?
Multiplying that by 50.
No. What is questions equal to?
What?
What is questions equal to?
How many questions I got wrong?
Okay, how many questions have you got wrong so far?
I don't know. All of them?
Line 7, what does line 7 say?
Oh, nice!
Oh, but what's going to happen when I start asking you the questions?
It'll obviously increase.
It'll obviously increase. Okay. Do you have any questions before I attack you?
Yes.
Okay, what questions do you have then?
Is it true that I have 103 experience points? Or is that just a decoy?
Well, look over here, okay? So I'm going to execute this code, okay? So if you don't get any questions wrong, how many experience points, what do your experience points be equal to?
How many questions are there?
There's 6 quiz cards right now, right?
Okay.
So how many points could you potentially lose? If you get all 6 questions wrong, what's going to...
I could lose 30 and I could gain 30.
No, you're not going to gain 30. You're just not going to lose 30. Okay?
I could if I get them correct.
Well, first of all, the first thing I did was I did give you 50 points, right? But if every question you get wrong, you're going to lose 5 points.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in the end, I could lose 30 points.
So look at here. If you get all 6 questions wrong, what happened here?
Then I lose 30 points.
Right. You're going to lose 30 points then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you ready?
Yes.
Tanay, stop playing with that, please. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. What is a variable?
A variable is a variable is a box with a name that holds a value.
Okay. What is a value?
A value is data stored inside a variable.
Okay, very good. This is a child's version of what happens in real life to an adult. Okay?
Okay.
When your mother got a job being a full-time coder, did somebody just give her the job?
No, she had to earn it.
No, she had to pass a lot of interviews, okay? Most companies make you go through like 5 rounds of interviews, okay? Usually 2 of them are technical.
What does that mean, technical?
They're going to ask you coding questions. If it's a
Oh,
coding job, they're going to ask you coding questions, right?
yeah.
Right? Okay. Now they wouldn't ask these questions, right? Because these are really basic questions. They would ask much more advanced questions, okay? They would ask questions like, what are the 4 pillars of object-oriented programming? Okay? They would
I
ask you
don't know.
more, what?
I don't know.
Well, we're not there yet, so you don't need to know. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, Tanay, what is a function?
A function is
You can ask for a hint,
function is
but
like
you can ask for a hint, but you lose 1 point. You automatically lose 1 experience point.
hint.
You want a hint?
Yeah.
Okay. What am I doing to your experience point here? Did you see this? What
Yeah,
happened?
you're making it a 2.
I subtracted what?
1.
1. Okay. And as we
Better
go
than
up,
half.
levels, the hints will cost more. Okay? The hints will cost more. Okay. A function is a block of blank that does blank blank.
A function is a block of code that does one job.
Okay. What is an oh, did I already asked that, right? I already asked what
You
is an
didn't
algorithm.
ask algorithm yet.
What is an algorithm?
An algorithm is like a recipe.
Okay, good. How many questions did I ask so far? I forgot.
So you did the variables.
Variable,
That
value.
first one, value.
Okay.
Yeah, you did 4.
I did 4. Okay.
I think.
Okay, so the last 2 questions you probably already know. What are the last 2 questions?
The last 2 questions.
I'll give you 5 points if you can remember the last 2 questions.
The first question I can't remember the question, but I think I can remember the answer.
Okay. Well, okay.
Wait, no, I already answered that. I'm thinking of a different question I already answered.
Okay. Okay. What is an integer?
An integer is. Oh, I remember the last question. What is a float?
I'm asking you, what is an integer? What is an integer?
An integer is a whole number.
Okay,
And the
very
last
good.
one is what is a
Right.
float? A float
What is a
is a
float?
decimal number.
Very good. Okay. So how many questions did you get wrong? How many
It says 0 there.
Well, I'm asking you. Do you remember how many questions you got wrong?
1.
No, I don't think you got any questions wrong.
Nice.
Did you get a question wrong?
No.
No, I don't think so. Okay. So when I run this code, what's going to print out, Tanay?
A -1.
-1. What do you mean?
Because
What's your total experience points?
102.
102, right? Okay. Okay, so no, not 102. 152.
152. Oh
Because I already
no!
gave you the 50 points. I already gave the 50 points.
Oh nice! I got 152 points.
Guess how many kids I have at level none now, Tanay?
2.
Yeah.
I know that because you told me last week.
Well, I'm just asking. I'm just wondering if you remembered, right?
I have a very bad memory. At the same time, I have a very good memory.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure you're good at remembering the things you want to remember,
Yeah.
and then you're not really interested in remembering other things. Okay.
Like, I want to remember stuff from the first Harry Potter. Now that I'm on the 6th Harry Potter right now, and I remember stuff from the first Harry Potter book.
Right.
Not the movies, the books.
Okay. Now the simple code that I have here that was keeping track of your experience points. This is what we would call soft coding. Okay. What do I use?
Good or is hard coding good?
What?
Which one is good, hard or soft coding?
I'm going to explain that to you. Soft coding is when we use what? What am I using in this code here?
Constants.
Well, I have one constant, but it says constant, but it's not actually really a constant. You can't really have a constant in Python. That it's not really possible. I just call it a constant. What do we call these? I'm sorry?
Dates?
Well, none of these are dates.
Well,
So what do we call? So what do we call? So I'm sorry. What? No, that's a comment. That's just comment.
Okay.
So what do we call line 3, line 6, and line 7? What are those things? What do we call those things?
Variables.
Very good. Variables. Okay. So when you code and use variables, right? That's called soft coding. Okay.
Okay.
Now you see here we have wrong answer, right?
Hmm?
You see that? So this is a constant, right? So when the program runs, wrong answer does not change, or at least I'm not supposed to change it, right?
Yeah.
But here, look down at line 12. So I used the variable wrong answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I multiply that by the number of questions you got wrong, right? And then when I add that to your experience points, what happens? What happens to your wrong answer is what kind of number is wrong answer?
-5.
Right. It's what do we call it? It's a negative what?
It's a negative number.
Negative number or negative integer, right? So when I multiply that by questions, what happens? And questions is going to be a positive number. So what's going to happen?
I'm gonna get an questions will turn into a negative instead of a positive, and
No. Questions is always going to be the number of questions I ask you is going to increase. So it's going to be just a positive number. So if I have a negative number and I times it by a positive number, Tanay, please stop playing with the toy. Please focus on me.
So
okay. So what happens when I multiply a negative number times a positive number? What do I get?
a positive number.
No, negative number times a positive number. What do I get?
A negative number.
I get a negative number. And then what am I doing over here? This plus equals, what happens? So I get a negative number, and then what do I do with that number? What is the computer going to do with that number?
Then the computer is gonna like take away some points and not add points.
Right. Well, what it's doing is it's going to take that negative number on the right, and then it's going to add it to the number on the left, and then it's going to make Tanay underscore XP that number. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's
Mhm.
adding, first it adds the number and then it assigns that number to Tanay underscore XP. Okay. Then what happens in line 14?
You print it. So
Right.
that
Then it's
means
right. And if it doesn't print, then you wouldn't know anything. You won't see anything. Okay. So that's why we need to have a print so we can see what the output is. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So look at line 12, right?
Mhm.
What if I did this? What if I did this?
Made it to correct answers. Negative.
What did I do?
You changed wrong answers into -5.
So you know what that you know what we call that when I do
Mm,
that?
no.
When I use a fixed value, we call that hard coding. Can you
Fixed
guess?
value. Fixed value.
Yeah, because -5 doesn't change, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a fixed value.
Oh.
Why do you think that's bad? Why do you think we shouldn't be doing that? Can you guess why we don't want to do
Because
that?
then if I get like 20 questions wrong, I'll still only lose 5 points.
No. You're still no -5, and then what is going to do? The computer is going to take the -5 and do what? Multiply by what?
How many questions I got?
How many questions you got wrong, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then it's going to take that number and then add it to Tanay XP. Okay.
Is that
Now
wait?
the reason why we don't want to use we don't want to hard code and use fixed values is because it's very hard to change. It's very
Uh-huh.
hard to fix.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now what if I used a variable wrong answer in more than one place? What would you have to do if you wanted to change the -5?
Change them both.
You would have to go to every line of code that has a -5 and then change that number. Okay.
So like maybe -50 or -1,000,000 or whatever you want it.
So in this example, if I have a 100 lines of code, right,
Mm-hmm.
and I have 10 lines of code that uses wrong answer, so how many places would I have to go and change that number if I hard coded?
10 places.
Right, where every place that I have in the code I have a -5, I would have to change it to something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but if I need to change wrong answer, where do I? And I used a variable. If I used a variable name, right, instead of the value,
You just change the first wrong answer and then all of the others change.
will automatically change, right? The computer does it. Okay. You know what a Mad Libs is, right?
No.
Oh, you never seen a Mad Libs? Okay. So
Oh
it's like
yeah,
a
I kind of. My parents got me a Mad Libs book once.
yeah. So the Mad Libs book, what's great about it is that now the thing is that the book doesn't do anything for you, right? So
No.
every place where it says hero's name, right? What do
Mm-hmm.
you have to do?
Write down the hero's name.
Every place in the Mad Lib story where it says hero's name, or if it, let's say it says pet, right?
Yeah.
Pet's name. And then every place where it says pet's name, then you would have to, write in the pet's name. So the way you have to think of it is it's like you have a robot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you tell the robot, hey, my pet's name is Spot, right? And the
Okay.
robot will go through the book by itself and write Spot wherever it says pet's name. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So hard coding would be like you doing it, right? It
Mm-hmm.
would be like you going into the book and writing spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
But soft coding means you get the computer to do it for you. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So why do you want to learn how to code?
So I can code.
Well, yeah, but why do you want to learn how to code?
So I can make video games.
Okay. Okay. Another reason why you want to learn how to code is because you want the computer to do the work for you. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when we use variables and we change a variable, then and you want to change the code, then when you
Mm-hmm.
change the value of the variable, who changes all the variable values?
The computer.
Okay, So when you do it like this, right, the computer does the work, okay? But if I do this, right, I put -5 here, who's doing the work?
You.
I am. And if I need it, let's say we want to change the value of wrong answer to 10, right? Every time you ask a question, you lose 10 points, right?
Yeah.
So every place where I coded a -10, then I have to hunt down every location, every line, and change it. Okay? Can you guess why adults will do hard coding when they know it's wrong? Can you guess why?
What? You're cutting in and out, Master
Sorry.
Sonic.
Can you guess why adults will do hard coding on purpose?
Wait, why? Who does hard coding
Can
on
you guess
purpose?
why adults will do that? Why adults will do hard coding on purpose?
I don't know. Wait, you said I should guess, so
Can you guess?
yes.
Why would somebody do that? Make it really hard for themselves and other people to change their code. Why do you think they would do something like that?
So it might take longer.
But why? But why would they want to? Why would they want to do that? Would they make it so hard for other people and themselves to change the code? Why do you think they would do that?
So they could get a break from work, maybe.
No,
I don't
people.
know.
Adults will sometimes adult coders will do that because they want to protect their jobs.
They want to protect their jobs.
Yeah.
I don't see how that's protecting the job.
Well, if you're the only person who knows where to change they're called magic numbers, by the way. If you're the only person who knows where in the code to change the magic numbers to make the program work, don't you think that protects your job?
Yeah,
Yeah. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
good. Because then you can get money.
Not for the company.
Not for the company, obviously.
Not if the person is working for you. If you have a coder working for you and you see them doing a lot of hard coding, are you going to be angry or happy? Tanay, look at me, please.
Angry.
Pay attention. Tanay.
Angry. They would be angry.
You'd be angry, right?
Yeah.
Because that person is going to make it really, really hard for you to change the code or have somebody else change the code. Okay? So hard coding is good or bad?
Hard coding is bad.
Okay, hard coding is bad. Okay.
Good on some occasions, but bad.
Well, look. Let's say this: if you're coding really fast and you're just trying to test something, it's okay to hard code things, right? But once the program is working, what should you be doing to the code?
Making it soft code.
Right. You should be using variables, not fixed values. Okay.
Rohan,
Yes.
so for homework this week, do I just have to memorize the quiz cards?
That and I'm gonna put it into Google Classroom. I haven't done that yet, but I want you to make a short story. Write a short story using functions, variables. Using my computer town. Okay. So I'd like you to. Oh, by the way, let's do a review. I almost forgot. Okay. Do you remember your rap?
Oh yes.
Homework was to remember your rap. Okay.
Which one? The first one or the second one?
Well, you need to do both of them, but 1 second.
Which one should I do first?
1 second. I'm gonna help you a little.
Okay.
Okay. Rap for me, Tanay.
Z to the Y. What?
Okay, wait a minute. Z to the Y?
Yeah.
Z to the Y.
Y to the X.
Y to the X.
X to the Z.
X to the Z. So what should happen when I run this code, Tanay?
They switch.
Wait, what switches?
X and Y.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's see if you're right. Okay? Let's see if you're right. Okay. You know what? I'll give you control. I'm gonna give you control.
What does that mean?
You can move the mouse.
Mm,
Okay, so click on next.
mm, okay.
Okay, click on next. Okay. Slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. So after you did Z to the Y, or you signed Y to Z. So what happened to a Z?
Became 3.
Okay, so you copied 3 and Y into Z. Okay. So what happens after you execute line 5? What happens?
They so X turns into Y.
You copy the value in Y into, I'm sorry, you copy the value in X into what?
Yeah.
No, you tell me.
Wait, I couldn't hear you even.
You copy the value in X into
Y.
Y. Okay, so then what happens to Y?
Y turns into 5.
Okay, you already did that. Okay. So we copied, so Y is now 5. Before it was what? Hello?
Yeah.
Y was 3. Now Y is what?
5.
Okay. So what is the last thing we need to do?
X Z equals X.
Okay. Well, we normally read it from left to right, but what it's actually doing is right to left. So we're going to copy what into what? We're going to copy what into what?
We're gonna copy Z into X.
Okay. So what's going to happen to X?
X will turn into 3.
Okay. So what happened to the 0?
The 0 stepped out of his house.
Okay, we lost the 0. Okay.
Sadly.
Okay. So, well, I don't know. I don't think you're that sad. Okay. Okay, very good. Oh, ooh, no. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to get rid of Z, right? So how do we swap in one line? How do we swap X and Y in one line? You have control.
X
Type it in.
comma Y.
No. Type it in. Type it in.
Oh, right.
Type it in. You have control. Type it in.
I'm trying to type in X, but nothing's happening.
There might be a lag. There might be a lag.
Oh, here it is.
There might be a lag.
Here.
Right, very good.
Okay.
What's the wrap? First, repeat the wrap for me.
X comma Y equals Y comma X.
X comma Y equals Y. You got no beat tonight. X comma
Y.
Y equals Y comma X. X comma Y equals Y comma X. Come on. You can't rap tonight?
No, I don't like rapping. I don't like raps. I like other type of songs. I like other songs, not
Okay.
rapping.
Well, it's really just helping you remember stuff because it has a beat. Okay, execute.
How do you do that?
You have to go down the page.
Funny, that's not
You have to
working.
scroll down the page.
I'm trying.
Use the mouse. Use the mouse to go down the page. Use the scroll bar on the right.
Okay.
Use the mouse to grab the scroll bar on the right. Yeah. Not that scroll bar, the other scroll bar, the big one.
Yeah, the big one.
Yeah. Nope. The other, yeah, that one, yeah.
Okay, the mouse.
You can't move it? No.
The mouse just disappeared for a
It's not
second.
working. Okay, I'll do it.
What's happening?
Okay, so can you click on next? Can you step through it?
Next.
Okay. So you created the X variable. Then you created a Y variable. And then in one line, you're gonna swap. Okay. Now, do you remember the story I told?
No.
Okay,
Which-
so well, I'll put you in the story. So Tanay and the integer 5 and the integer 3, you went into the forest, okay?
Mhm.
Okay, and then you saw a big hole in the ground, right?
Mhm.
And then you took, now who's first in this order? Who's first in this order? 5 or 3? Who's first?
5.
Right, 5 is first, right? Because you made 5 first, right? So what did you do? You decided, okay, I'm going to take 5 and I'm going to push him in the hole. So you push 5 into the hole, right?
That means.
Unless, well, it's a 5. It's a number. It's got no feelings. It's just a number. So 5, and the hole is what in computer town we call it a stack. Okay. Tanay, Tanay, please look at me with your hair. Okay, so you took 5 and you put him in the hole. So who's in the hole in the bottom?
5.
5. And then what did you do next, Tanay?
I pushed 3 in the hole.
You pushed 3 in the hole. Why did you do that, Tanay? What did 3 do to you? Okay, then you decide, okay, you feel bad.
He owes me $1 million.
Number 3 owes you, the number 3 owes you the $1 million. Well, I feel sorry for number 3.
And
Okay,
he didn't give me my $1 million like he
well,
said he
okay, that's good. Never remind me to never ask you for any money. Shove me down a hole.
would.
Okay, so who's on the bottom of the hole today?
Still number 5.
Okay, who's on top of the hole?
Still number 3.
Okay, so you decide to pull 3 out. So you pull 3 out, and then
That way he can give me my money back.
Right, very good. And then who do you pull out next?
Mr. 5.
Mr. 5, okay.
So
Well, I
made
don't know if 5 is a Mr. or not, but okay, let's say Mr. 5.
Mr.
Okay,
5.
Mr. 5. So what order are 3 and 5 in now? What was the order before you pushed them in the hole?
5 and 3.
Okay, 5 was first, and then 3 was second. So what order are 5 and 3 now?
The 3 and 5.
Okay, so now they switched, right?
Yep.
Okay, so in Python, what's happening inside the computer? There is something called a stack. Okay,
What's this?
it's like a hole. So
Hmm.
the first thing you put in the stack
Mhm.
will become what when you take them out of the stack?
The last number.
The last, well, it doesn't have to be a number, but let's say the last item or object. Okay.
Yes, the last object.
Okay. So if I push you into a hole, right? Okay. If I push you into a hole and then I get into a hole next, then what happened?
Then our order switches. You're
Well, it doesn't order switch
number
yet.
1.
So then I climb out of the hole, and then you climb out of the hole. Okay. Who went in first?
Me.
You. Who went in second?
You.
Okay. But when I come out, who's first?
You.
And who's second or last?
Me.
Okay. So inside the computer, there's something called, in the computer memory, there's something called a stack. Okay. So the first thing that goes in will become the last thing that comes out. Okay. So it's the way the programs work, the stack is very important. Okay. It helps the computer program to keep track of things. Am I making any sense?
Yep.
Okay. Now in other coding languages, you can't do that. You can't swap using the stack. Okay. You have to do that 3-step method. Okay. What's that rhyme again?
Oh. Y to the Z. Y.
Whoa.
Z to
Y
the
to the
Y,
Z.
Z to the Y. Y to the X.
Wait a minute.
X to the Z.
Now the reason why we do that in that order, because alphabetically, what comes first?
What?
What comes first alphabetically?
X.
Right. So the reason why I used, and a lot of coding teachers will use, and math teachers will use X, Y, and Z is because they're in alphabetical order. Okay. So normally when you're coding a program, would you use X, Y, and Z?
No.
No, because what does X, Y, and Z stand for?
It's
What is X, Y, and Z?
variables.
They are, but does it have any meaning for you? Do they
Mm,
represent anything?
not really.
No, it's just X. Single letter variable names are not a good idea, but I'm only using it to teach you coding. That's all. Okay. So if X is 5, Y is 3, and Z is 0, right? And Z is not, 0 is not important. We don't care about Z, right? And Z is what? What kind of variable is Z? What do we call it?
A useless one.
Well, okay. Well, it's useful, but we call it a temporary variable. Okay.
Whoa.
We call it temporary variable. Okay. So given this situation, what's the wrap?
The wrap is z to the x, x to the y, y to the z.
Z to the X, X to the Y, and you said, what was the last line?
A y to the z.
Y to the Z. Okay. Now, is there a difference if you do X to the Z? I mean Z to the X, but you replace it with Z to the Y? Z to the Y, Y to the X, Y to the. I'm sorry, I messed it up. Okay. So if we did, I'm sorry, I got it messed up. Z to the Y, Y to the X, X to the Z. Is that a difference? Does it do exactly the same things?
Yep.
They're exactly the same, right? Okay. So it doesn't really matter. But what is important though? What is important that you get correct when you do the Z to the X, X to the Y, Y to the Z? What is the thing you have to worry about?
The thing I have to worry about whether it switches or not.
Okay. So I think what you meant is you have to worry about the sequence or the order, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When you take a shower, do you well, I don't know. Well, normally I brush my teeth before I take my shower, right?
Well, I don't
Right?
take a shower in the mornings. I take it like in the afternoons.
Okay. So normally when do you wash your hair?
When I'm in the shower.
When you're in the shower, right?
Mhm.
Actually, I don't really wash my hair that much. Uh, oh, let's say Legos, right? So when
Yeah.
you build Legos, is it important to build the Legos in the right sequence,
Yep.
the right order?
Otherwise you just get a big pile of blocks.
Have you done that where you try to build something with your Legos in the wrong order?
No, most of the time I just make up stuff I want to build, but not
Right.
from Lego set, from loose Lego.
But what happens if you try to make Legos in the wrong order? What do you end up having to do?
Breaking it apart and making it.
Right. You have to break up the whole thing and then you have to redo it in the correct order, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So that's the same thing with the coding, right? We have to do it in the right order. Okay.
Mhm. Otherwise, just get a big fat mess.
Well, what happens is worse. You like information just poof disappears. Okay. What would happen if you had $1,000 in the bank and the bank just the number and the computer went poof and your $1,000 just went to zero? Would you be happy?
No, I would sue the bank.
Right. You'd be furious. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you need to. So I'm going to be adding more quiz cards this week. I'll be posting them onto Google Classroom. Okay.
All I have to do is memorize those and.
Well, I mean, do the best you can to review them. Okay.
So that and something else.
And also, I want you to work on putting together a short story about Computer Town. Okay. So it's important because what I want you to do is
Will,
to
will
because
it
what
be
I
like
want you to
will it be like a code?
doesn't have to be a code. It has to be a story. Okay.
Mhm.
You could talk about the 5 and 3 wanting to switch houses, or you could talk about a function. Okay. So you need
I'll
to.
just do a basic
I
one.
told you a story about the stacks, right?
About the what?
About the hole in the forest, right? What did I call in Computer Town, in the forest, a hole in the forest? What do we call that?
I forgot.
We call it stack,
A stack.
because you stack things inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I need you to develop a visual image in your brain. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can develop, so you have a better idea of what's happening inside the computer. Okay. Because it's very hard, because if you don't develop, there needs to be a model of the computer and what the computer does in your brain. Okay.
Like in a TV show, basically, on what
Yeah.
it does, like a video.
Yeah. Well, that's why I created Computer Town, right? And I tell stories, okay? Because
Yeah,
it's
so-
easier to remember a story. It's
I already
easier
did
to
that.
remember a rap.
While
Okay.
you were telling me the story, I already did what you told me to do.
Now, the important thing is when we try to remember things,
Huh?
you need to put action into your stories. You can't have a
Action?
story. Well, you can't have a story where people just talk to each other. If you tell a story where the number 5 talks to number 3 and says hello, you see, that's boring. Plus of that, you're not going to remember that. But if you tell a story where you grab number 5 and push him in a hole, right?
Yeah, that's what I did.
You can remember
That's what
that.
I did. I visualized somebody pushing number 5 into a hole,
Yeah.
and then pushing number 3 and
Okay. Right.
taking
And
number
that's okay, because they're numbers. They don't have any feelings. You wouldn't do that to your brother, but it's okay to do number 5 and number 3. They have no feelings. They're just numbers. Okay. I'm not advocating violence, but I'm just talking about numbers. Okay. Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll see you this Thursday. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Stay safe and stay healthy. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Bye bye.
How do I?